TorahCafe.com.
Our bread is really flour and water, basically. We don't go with oil and eggs. That's why I strongly recommend against bread machine. Not dough machine, bread machine. I'll tell you why. They have a zillion ingredients. Oh, close the water, please. Meaning, they need all these things to be good. What you should need for good bread is basically flour, water, and yeast. Because if you need, and also the bread machine, because it's like a convection, like a rotisserie, meaning that the bread is turning on all sides, it gets very dry. What's good for a chicken is not good for a loaf of bread. That is why, no matter how rich you make those loaves, they come out very, very dry, even though they are obscenely rich, right? The eggs and the oil and the honey and the this and the that. Here, all I am putting in is my warm water, yeast. Don't be bothered with the little envelope that you have to open and measure. Just by yourself, go to your health food store and buy active dry yeast in a jar. And here we just want a drop of like a teaspoon and a half, right, of sugar just to help it proof. We always want to do the proofing with the yeast, because if by any chance you don't get bubbles, if it's old or something, and you don't see any action, it may well mean that your yeast is not active. I use spelt for absolutely everything. Cooking, pizza, bread, cookies, cake, absolutely everything. It never lets me down. Never. Okay, so 4.5. On average, forget. I know that épeautre. So here, and so how are we doing here? Very nice. This is not the crux of my class, so I'm not talking too much about it, but you have an idea. I just wanted to do this because a bread is such a companion of salad, okay? I beg you, guárdamelo. Guárdamelo al freezer, por favor. Take any recipe for bread in an American cookbook and divide it by 2. Just divide it by 2. No questions asked. This is insane. To put 2 tablespoons of salt in a recipe that will make 1 loaf, which you're going to eat with lox, cheese, pickles. You have to preempt what it is that you're eating it with. You understand? And I see the yeast is coming up to the surface and making its little bubbles, so we are completely okay. So now salt. We love this flavoring, anise, and what I would give to make Americans love anise. Anise is so good for you. We grew up with it. We eat it. We sucked on it. What's it called? The licorice. What's it called? Those from. Non, mais l'arc chose, tu sais. Not only fennel. Les bâtons. Non, les bâtons en bois. The wooden. So here's sesame. We don't have too many allergic people in my country. We just don't. This my granddaughter was here, and she deconstructs absolutely everything. I saw a seed. Because she's very allergic. Please clean this so it keeps well. Here, anise. And so, and give me a fork, please. 1 tablespoon. And so I have all my seasonings. Can you make bread without seeds? Of course. This is just a garnish. Fennel or anise. Anise, they're a little smaller, but they certainly are cousin. If you have one, don't go and leave it and buy the other. You understand that, right? Okay, give me a pan lined with aluminum. So now I have a machine and I can well afford to stop right here. But I want to show you. Above all, don't let anybody tell you, oh, your recipe for bread is not good. My recipe is good. Their recipe is good. Can somebody show us a good recipe? It's not the recipe here. It's what you're going to do with the dough. And let's see what I'm going to do with the dough. Okay? At first, it feels very moist. Let's see how the flour, a good ratio is 3 cups of flour for 1 cup of liquid. So far, I didn't work hard, right? You can do all this in your machine, dough machine, not bread machine. I despise the bread machine. And you go, 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 go. Don't neglect any corner. Don't neglect any corner. My mother, Kanaina Hara, still does it. And her bread is, honest to God, the best I ever tasted. It doesn't weigh anything. With this, she'll make 3 dozen rolls. I don't know how she does it, but they're so light. Because she hits it right to the point. Right to the point. Now, while I do this, let me say all I have to say about bread making. Resist, 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 resist as much as possible adding water. Don't just say adding. The same people that flour. The same people that add flour to the bread add matzah meal to the matzah balls, and their bread and their matzah balls are like tennis balls because they're heavy. Why? Because they didn't give a chance to the solids to absorb the liquids gracefully. Matzah meal is very, very spongy, meaning that it will end up, even if it looks like almost like cake batter. Same thing here. You might be tempted to say, oh my God, when is this going to become bread? I promise you, very soon. Very soon. So guideline, resist adding flour at all costs. Number 2, let it rise in a warm place away from drafts. Number 3, and I'm going to tell you what my mother does, and she's really the master. She kneads the bread, shapes the bread, places the bread on the sheet. Shalom an Israel. She's done with the bread. Okay. Now, 5 minutes. Look how nice. Do you already see a difference? Is it as sticky as it used to be? No. Punch, punch, punch. Air bubbles, flat. It already, I can tell you, it's going to be a bread. For challah, you might want to embellish it and just brush it with, what's it called? With a little egg. Egg wash. Not just egg or egg yolk, because that gets very burnt. Very dark. So I think I'm there. You see that I didn't add not even a drop of flour. I see everybody, hi. Everybody just goes and takes a clump of flour and just go boom, 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 boom. That is the kiss of death for bread making. Okay, so I think I'm there. When do I know I'm there? When it's not so tacky anymore. You see? Look. Wow. Right? No magic. I did this from scratch. Should drop more. And then you see when you poke it with a finger, it tends to get resilient and come back to its original shape. Okay. And then I'm going to make 2 loaves with this. I'm going to use just as much flour as I need to get it off the board. Here, like a dusting. I didn't even put a teaspoon here. Nothing. Here. All I want for it is to get off the board gracefully. And I'm not going to shape it too much because the shaping is going to be lost in transport. Rather, I'm going to go to my destination, the pan, and then shape it. And then I'm going to forget about it for 1.5 hours, 2 hours. And then I'm going to put it in the oven. That's the whole entire thing. And you can do this as often as you want. And people just love this kind of ethnic bread. You can do this. Let me just tell you another possible garnish that you can do. Look at this. Look. In other words, very low tech. And they will look like real artisanal bread with nothing. Just not even, no extra work, nothing. I didn't need to prick this with a fork. You understand this, right? I just changed my mind on the way. Here. Isn't that nice? Rachel, haven't seen you in years.
I have a Cuisinart. You can come back to my house.
I sure will. You need to invite me. We're going to give another demo. Your house was fabulous for demo. And your girls, they were fantastic assistants. Oh, my God.
Married.
Oh, great. Mazal tov.
In the last few months.
Oh, great. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to show you.
Can we see it?
We're kissing it goodbye. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to show you what happens when it grows. I did this before, and Baruch Hashem, it grew. And here. And as soon as the eggplant comes out, I'm going to put this. Let's see if our bread is ready. They're wondering how I did this because it's hot. Let's see. I want to hear a nice little tapping sound when I tap it, and I don't hear it. So I'm going to put it back for 5-10 minutes. Very, very nice. 5-10 minutes.